This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what is poppin'? It's your boy. And it feels like it's been forever since I've been on. But I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the month. Training camp starts in about 3 weeks. And over the next 3 weeks, we're going to be breaking down training camp battles and looking at storylines heading into training camp. That's what we're doing. So we're back in effect, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be back on the mic. I got my man Tony Crow here. And as Tony Crow calls it, we got Nasty Nate in the building. Let's get over here, man. Let's talk to these guys and see what's popping. Tony, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
What's going on, Finn? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the panel, Nate. Your blackest time. I'm feeling good, man. I'm glad you back. Welcome back. It's been a little.
Yeah, it's been a little minute, man. Had family things to take care of and stuff like that. But, we back in the building. We back in the building the right way. Nate, what's popping with you, bro?
How's it going, man? Just ready to talk some basketball, man. I've been kind of in the football mode lately, so, ready to talk some basketball, see what's going on.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's do it, man. We're talking training camp Exhibit 10 battles today, right? Because there's a bunch of guys at the end of the bench that are going to be battling and trying to win that last two-way spot that the Knicks have available. Right now, Jericho Sims is the only player who has a two-way contract with the Knicks, right? So if you're not familiar, excuse me while I adjust my microphone. If you're not familiar, those with a two-way contract, they get to play a certain number of games with the New York Knicks and a certain number of games with the Westchester Knicks. And it's kind of a developmental process. The idea is that a guy like Jericho Sims will play with Westchester, learn the system, also get to practice with the varsity guys, and even get to play some games and start to work his way up the ladder and become part of the permanent roster. Now, Jericho Sims has that one spot, but there's one available. And there's a bunch of guys that might be playing and trying to get into that two-way contract with the New York Knicks. All right, you got Dwayne Bacon. Now, Dwayne Bacon, he's played in the NBA. All right, he played for the Orlando Magic last season. Dwayne Bacon last season, he averaged 10.9 points per game, 3.1 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists. He shot 40.2% from the field, and he shot 28.5% from the field from the three-point line. And then you got MJ Walker. MJ Walker, last season, Florida State, he averaged 12.2 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game. He shot 43.6% from the field. He shot 42.3% from the three-point line. He's 23 years old, 6'5", 213 pounds. Right? And then you got Aamir Simms. Got a couple of Sims on his team. Last year at Clemson, last season, he averaged 13.4 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 2.7 assists. He shot 53.2% from the field and 40% from the three-point line. He's 23 years old, and he weighs 213 pounds. All right, these are a couple of guys that are going to be battling for that two-way spot. And then you got Rokas Jokubaitis. Rokas Jokubaitis is most likely going to play overseas. And you got Luca Vildoza. All right, so I want to start off and talk about, let's start with Dwayne Bacon. All right, Dwayne Bacon's been in the league. Again, he's 26 years old. He gave some minutes to Orlando last year, and he gave some minutes to the Charlotte Hornets as well in the past. He's been a starter. He started 20-some-odd games in his career. Tony, what do you think about Dwayne Bacon? Do you think because of his experience in the NBA, he has the best shot to get that two-way contract?
Theoretically, I think he should. He does, and he should. But I think he's in more of a situation where he's showcasing for the league more so than that two-way. I think he would be disappointed if he ends up with the two-way contract as opposed to a real contract with some other organization or even us, even though it's a harder road to get that spot with us.
Right. No, I think I probably agree with you there. And it's hard for me to understand. Well, I guess it's not hard for me to understand. I thought he was he's not a starter by any means, in my opinion, although he has started games in the NBA. But he's a guy that can play some defense and score the basketball at times. I mean, he's had some nights where he's scored the basketball for both Orlando and Charlotte. But I agree with you. I think he probably would be disappointed if he ended up this season with just a two-way contract. And for him, it's just a two-way contract. But if that's all he can get, I'm sure he'll take it if that's all he can get. I just don't see where he's needed on the Knicks. I just don't see that. I do want to back up a bit before I get to Nate. If you don't understand about the Exhibit 10 contracts, what the Exhibit 10 contracts are non-guaranteed contracts where the Knicks and other teams in the NBA, they agree to a non-guaranteed contract with players to come in a training camp. Okay? Now, of course, those players can make the team. And if they make the team, then they'll get a fully guaranteed contract at some point. Right? But guys like Dwayne Bacon, MJ Walker, Aamir Simms, non-guaranteed Exhibit 10 contracts. All right, so Nate, talk to me. What do you think? Dwayne Bacon.
I kind of disagree on that because I really feel like even though there's not really a need for this guy, I think that we know what to expect from this dude compared to the other guys. And I think if I'm the Knicks brass, unless there's somebody out there, i.e., what's his face, Alize Johnson, I think he's going to get released. I'd love to put him on the two-way for sure because he showed he can play some game with the Nets. I'd love the Nets to pick him up. But if there's not somebody there like an Alize Johnson, I would put Dwayne Bacon on a two-way because he's only 26 years old. Yeah, he's not going to be anything special, but he's somebody you could use if you sustain mass injuries. He's played the NBA. You kind of know what he's got. I mean, yeah, you could trust the rookies too. I mean, I'm just saying, it just depends. Tibbs is a big guy. He likes his vets. And I'm not saying, Dwayne Bacon's going to come in and shock the world. But if I'm front office, I'm looking like, hey, we can get a guy 26 years old that played in the NBA and put him on a two-way. There's really no risk towards it. And if hopefully nothing happens seriously with our guys or serious injuries, then we probably don't have to use them, and we can always take them out and switch that thing out. It's kind of like the last four players on the 53-man roster. They always can be switched out if there's a player out there that somebody likes and they want to sign them. So I don't think it's a big risk. I like Walker, but I need to see some from Walker first.
Yeah, and Nate, you kind of crackling a little bit. Your sound is kind of crackling. My thing is, I think I would much rather use that two-way spot on a young player. You know what I mean? We got veterans on the team. Alec Burks is a veteran. Of course, you got, R.J. Barrett's not really a veteran, but he's going on his third year in the league. Evan Fournier's a veteran. You got guards like Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker who, I know they're not shooting guards, but they're guards who are veterans in the league. And then you got a Quentin Grimes. I would just much rather use that two-way spot for a young guy. To me, that's really what it's
that's
for.
That's fine.
Either way. That's what it's for. Steph, what do you think about Dwayne Bacon and his chance to make the team?
I mean, if they're going just on talent, and experience, I think he has the edge, right? He played in the league already. He played, I think, 70, 60 or 60, high 60s, 70 games for Orlando. I think he averaged like 10 points a game.
Yep.
So if they're going on that, he's going to get the spot. But I agree with you. I would like to see Sims on this roster.
Yeah.
I would like to see Sims. But at the same time, and I don't know if they can do this, I would like to see him going back and forth, because I would like to see us take advantage of the G League a little more for our young players who are not getting time. And I know some coaches feel like, being around the team, game planning, those meetings, it's just as good. But I would like to see him do both, actually. But listen, I'm not going into our season confident in that center spot. I mean, there's health concerns with both of those guys. And obviously, I don't think Sims is going to come in and take their minutes, but to be able to have him come in and play 10 minutes a game or 12 minutes a game if those guys get injured, I would like to see that.
Yeah, so you're talking about Jericho Sims, right?
Jericho.
Jericho Sims.
Yeah, not you, Sam. Not you, Sam.
I mean, listen, if they bring me up, Kemba, you might as well forget it. You know what I'm saying? If they call me up, Kemba might as well forget it. Sit down, go ahead and, back me up. Let Derrick Rose take the third string spot. We'd be all right.
Right.
But no, I didn't know if you were talking about Jericho Sims or Aamir Simms.
Oh, Aamir, the power forward. Yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
No, Jericho.
Yeah. I really think that's the move. I think that's going to end up being the move and the smartest move, because when you look at that situational lineup, it's kind of small. And, you hope that you don't have to go to that situational lineup too much, but I would rather it be balanced if we do have to go to it.
Right.
I'm kind of seeing Dwayne Bacon more like was last year when they picked him up. What's his name? The guy with the funny jump shot.
The CAA guy.
Yeah, I can't think of his name right
now. Oh my! I know you're talking about Gilchrist.
Michael Kidd Gilchrist, right? They picked up Michael Kidd Gilchrist, for training camp. The way I see it, he's a guy that can come in, play some defense on Quentin Grimes, right? He can give you NBA defense on Quentin Grimes. Let's see if you can handle NBA defense. Same thing with Miles McBride, right? You can put some NBA defense on him, and you don't have to use Derrick Rose or Kemba Walker. You know what I mean? Because those guys, you just want to maintain their health. You know what I mean? So guys like Dwayne Bacon can provide that NBA type defense, some rugged defense on those guys, and see how they handle that type of defense. And I think that's what he's there for. I don't think he's going to be on this team, not on a two-way or on the 15-man roster. I think he's just there to provide some support and bang around the young guys a little bit. And of course, I'm sure him and Evan Fournier are familiar with one another as well. So he's someone who can come in like a sparring partner. If you watch boxing, like a sparring partner, I kind of see him like that. We talked about Sims. We'll get to Jericho Sims. I want to talk about Aamir Simms and what you think about Aamir Simms. Tony?
Do you think that devalues him in any way? Or do you see him at least getting that opportunity to showcase for other teams? Still talking about Bacon. And then hypothetical question. Let's say he was under contract. And not with us, right? And his salary matched Knox. Could you not see a situation where they made that trade for him and said, hey, we see the value of his experience and what he's shown so far in comparison? Again, I'm still a Knox guy, so it's all hypothetical. But not saying that, they could do anything about it now, but I think that's the type of guy that they may have taken a look on if they were going to move Knox in the trade, hypothetically. Because I'm saying he could have a role on the team if there was a spot for him.
Right.
I think at this point he's really, he's got to be looking elsewhere more so than making his way onto this team. It's
Right.
going to be tough.
No, and you know what? I get exactly what you're saying, and I think he's probably going to be a guy that, they just have him kind of in the wings. You know what I mean? If he signs with another team, cool. If he doesn't sign with another team, he's been here, he's been in the system. He knows the guys a little bit. And if you do trade someone like Kevin Knox to another team, then we give him a call. Say, hey, we got a spot for you. Let's go. Nate?
Hey, Sim, can he play on the Westchester without being on a two-way?
He can. But then anybody can pick him up, of course.
Well, I mean, that's the risk you got to take.
Right.
I mean, if you don't feel like he's a two-way player, then I put him on the Westchester and see how he plays. And, if he picks up his game or he really impresses, then you can have that discussion about, maybe looking at putting him on a two-way. I mean, because you don't necessarily have to have another player on the two-way going into the season, right?
You don't have to.
You don't have
to. I do feel like, though, they're going to use training camp as kind of a battle to see who gets that last two-way spot, with the guys that they have in camp. Aamir Simms is another guy that they have in camp. All right, and excuse me for not having the pounds up here. I'm going to bring Aamir Simms up again. It says 200, age 23, 6'5", 213 pounds. I forgot the pound sign or initials or abbreviation. I forgot the pounds abbreviation, but he's 6'5", 213 pounds, shooting guard. At Clemson last year, he averaged 13.4 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 2.7 assists. He shot 53% from the field, and he shot 40% from three. See, I would rather bring in a guy like this that can shoot the ball from the field. He's 23 years old. I know Dwayne Bacon is only 26, but so is Julius Randle. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just rather bring in a guy like Aamir Simms and let him grow, let him develop, and see if he's somebody who can fit the bill at some point in his career. Steph, what do you think about Aamir Simms?
He's okay, Sam. For what I've seen, in summer league, he has good size. You said 6'8"?
You know what? I think I had my size wrong. I think he's
Okay.
I think he's like 6'8". I had 6'5", but I think he's 6'8".
Yeah. I think he plays the power forward, spot. He played okay in summer league. I wouldn't be adverse to him getting that second spot. I mean, I do think we need to groom. I would love a 6'8" guy on this team. I was hoping it would be Knox, right? A 6'8" or a 6'9" wing on this team. So yeah, I wouldn't be adverse to them putting him on the team and grooming him. He's a tough guy. He plays good defense. He played okay in summer league. I don't think he got obviously as much minutes as the other guys, but yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, he didn't get as much minutes as the other guys. He was when he did get out there, I will say I wasn't overly wowed with anything that he could do when he did get out there on the floor. But sometimes just the opportunity doesn't come when it's when it needs to come. Tony, what's your thoughts on Aamir Simms?
Similar to what the Queen said, I agree. We don't really have a guy with that size on the team. So I thought initially he would be the prime target for that two-way. But again, I agree we didn't see a lot from him, and he didn't wow in the few minutes that he showed. So I think he kind of drops one spot in the rotation as far as like my order of who's most likely to get that second two-way spot. I think he's two on that list for me.
Yeah. Nate? Any
Yeah,
thoughts?
I was kind of surprised when I was kind of surprised when we got him as an undrafted free agent, and we didn't really play him in the summer league. I think that says more about maybe how they feel going forward for him. I thought we would see more of him. I thought we saw some other guys that probably I rather would have seen Sims play than those other dudes play, but that's neither here or there. I would take a pass on this guy, honestly. 6'8" does not impress me at all. If this guy was 6'10" or something, then yeah. But I mean, you've already got Randall, you got Obi, you've got Taj. I think I'm good with this. I mean, maybe he plays in Westchester, but I wouldn't put him on a two-way.
See,
in my opinion.
The thing is, I kind of agree with Steph. You know, we just don't have that guy who is a 6'8" small forward. You know what I mean? And I think you need that kind of length out there. You know, RJ Barrett 6'7", Evan Fournier 6'7". I don't know if he's the guy, but I do think we need that kind of 6'8" small forward type of guy, you know, that's lanky, you know, can maybe play defense and some of those longer guys. I want it to be Kevin
That's
Knox.
why we got Knox.
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, but Kevin Knox hasn't shown that he can do it. Kevin Knox hasn't shown he can do it yet.
And Knox is 1 year remaining, so this guy can fill in as that.
I'll take Knox over this guy.
That replacement over the next couple years.
Yeah.
But also think about Knox already got 2-3 years in. We're talking about somebody that the coaching staff has yet to work with, right? So if he gets the same amount of coaching as Knox has gotten over these past few years, you know, just maybe.
Yeah, and I do want to bring across
the straws here for this guy.
I do want to bring across the screen because, you know, I had it kind of had his height and everything kind of mixed up. 23, 6'8", 245 pounds is Aamir Simms. And actually, I probably have his age wrong. You know, I've been out of practice, guys. You guys got to forgive me. I've been out of practice for a little bit.
Okay, Sim.
You know,
so if he's 245, he can't play small forward. He's going to have to play power forward, and he's too undersized at that position.
You said he's too undersized?
Yeah, at 6'8". I mean, the NBA, I mean, most guys are around 6'9", 6'10". I mean, 6'8" at 245, that just seems a little undersized for that position. I mean, I guess if he could shoot, maybe, but I mean, I'd rather just hope Knox is that guy.
What size is your average small forward in the NBA?
He's not a small forward. That's what I'm saying. He's going to probably play power forward, if anything. This guy played power forward in college. He didn't play small forward.
But in college, players are a little smaller.
True.
Right? So,
but he's going to have to lose some weight if he's going to play small forward, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, 245, that's a big small forward. I mean, LeBron, he's not LeBron size. He's not, I mean, I've seen this guy. He's not muscle, really. He's not big. He's not a big jacked up dude.
Okay.
You know.
I mean, so Nate, basically, you don't think this guy really stands a chance in making a roster or making a two-way or anything like that? Okay.
Not at all. Like I said, I think there's people out there that we might be able to pick up, or Walker, which we'll talk next.
Okay. Tony, did you have any last thoughts on Aamir Simms?
Well, basically just that, you know, coming in with his accolades from college, I would have went with him. It's really just his performance in the summer league that made him drop a spot for me.
Yeah. Okay. Then you got MJ Walker. All right, MJ Walker, I thought played well during the summer league. You know, especially defensively. Times when the Knicks were down and they needed defensive-minded players in the game, he was one of them, right? And he played intense defense, and I think that's something that obviously Tom Thibodeau likes. It fits the culture of the team. Steph, I'll come back around with you. Any thoughts on MJ Walker?
Was he on the team from the beginning? I mean, I saw him like the last two or three games, and I was like, where this guy came from. I thought he played well for us. I thought when they put him in, he fit right in. He didn't look to be lost. He didn't look like he was playing since the beginning. Hit some good shots for us, some timely shots. You know, and he plays, I think, with the 2 position. We got so many you know, off guards. But if they're going based on just talent and how they looked in summer league, I mean, he would get the edge. I thought he played well.
Yeah. MJ Walker last year with Florida State, he averaged 12.2 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. He shot 43.6% from the field. He shot 42.3% from the three-point line. He's 23, 6'5", 213 pounds. You know, he's a guy that I think he has a chance, to be honest with you. A lot's going to depend on what happens with Luca Vildoza, I think. But I think MJ Walker really does have a chance to get that two-way spot simply because he can play defense and he can shoot the 3. Right? And Aamir Simms can shoot the 3, but I think MJ Walker, you know, he can shoot it. He shoots it a little bit better. At least out of college, he shot it a little bit better. I think he has a legit shot to make the squad this season. Tony, what do you think about MJ Walker?
Yeah, that's my guy. I think both he and Sims got the same opportunity. I think we saw Sims early, and then we seen MJ Walker late. In the you know, in the stretches of games, and Walker showed out in his time. He performed defensively. He hit big shots. And then he's from Florida State, right?
Yeah.
You look at that recent history of Florida State players and the pedigree that they're bringing into the league, and you know what they're known for. That he's my pick for sure. Just coming off that culture and fitting into this new NBA system, I think he has the bigger upside. But again, I base that off of performance in summer league. More than anything else, he made the most of his opportunity.
Yeah, he definitely did, and I think he got that opportunity probably over Aamir Simms because of his defense, you know, and the intensity in which he, you know, attacks the basketball game. Nate, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, MJ Walker really impressed me when I watched him play. I mean, the guy was Johnny on the spot pretty much a lot of the game. Another 3-and-D player. And honestly, with the Knicks' depth behind R.J. Barrett, we don't really have a true 2-guard that you could say you're going to build your future around behind Barrett. So I think that Walker, with time, could develop into a guy who could definitely back up Barrett at some point. I mean, he's a defensive-minded dude, that's already great for Thibs, and he shoots a 3, which is what we want. We want our guards to shoot 3s. So, yeah, I like this guy. I mean, like I said, when I watched him play, he didn't really do a lot of negative plays, even more heady plays. Very smart, intelligent player. So, yeah, I'd love to see this guy on a 2-way. I think this is definitely a guy you could definitely develop and build for the future with.
Yeah, I think he's heavily in the running to make the squad.
Right, but let's not forget about Grimes though, in terms of grooming behind Barrett.
Right.
I think Grimes is better than Walker right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but Grimes is a 3. It's not really a 2, is he?
No, I think he's a 2.
I think he's a 2.
Both guys are 2s. MJ Walker's 6'5", 213 pounds.
No, MJ Walker's a 2 for sure, but I thought Grimes more 3.
He played 3 in college, but he's undersized. I don't think we can do that to him in the NBA.
Yeah, Quentin Grimes on the Knicks
6'5",
website.
6'6"?
On the Knicks website, they have him listed at 6'4", 210.
Right.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, not seeing him playing much 3 at all. Now we get to as I mentioned earlier, Jokubaitis is most likely going to be playing overseas, so he won't even be fighting for one of these positions. Right? So, we won't even see Jokubaitis. Jokubaitis, I'm sorry. But Luca Vildoza, he's on a non-guaranteed contract. So he could be vying for right now, he has that roster spot, right? But he could be, I think he's still fighting for a roster spot and even fighting for a two-way spot. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he showed as much in Summer League. And I think his spot is going to be gone. I actually think that Jericho Sims will be picked up on the regular 15-man roster, which will open up another two-way spot. MJ Walker might get that two-way spot, and then there'll be another one. Will it be Luca Vildoza? Will it be Aamir Simms? Will it be, I already mentioned MJ, or will it be Dwayne Bacon? That's kind of what I think is going to happen. I think Jericho Sims ends up on the 15-man roster, and Luca Vildoza falls off either to that two-way spot or is just waived altogether. Tony, what do you think?
I agree 100%. I think that's the way it goes. It's hard to say that Vildoza will even make the two-way spot just because we haven't seen enough of them. So based off that, I think Walker and Sims ends up with the two-way spots. I think the smart thing, Aamir Simms and Walker end up with the two-way spots. Jericho Sims, like you said, gets that 15th man. I think that's the smartest thing to do anyway. Kind of locks him up, kind of puts some more pressure on Mitch. He could still play back and forth between the G League and the main roster. That's the route I would go. And then as far as Luca, let him fight it out on that two-way position. And if he wants to take that, he could take that and go back overseas. Maybe he gets picked up by another team as well.
Right.
Does that mean he wouldn't, that his contract wouldn't be guaranteed, right? If he went to the G League?
Who, Luca?
Yeah.
Right. It wouldn't be.
Yeah, they would have to waive him basically and then re-sign him on the either two-way or just as a G League player.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right. I think it only makes sense. If you look at that situational lineup, if you waive Vildoza and pick up Jericho Sims, you'll have Miles, you'll have McBride at the point guard spot. You would have Quentin Grimes at the shooting guard spot. Kevin Knox at the 3 spot. Taj Gibson at the 4. And then you'd have Jericho Sims at the 5. To me, that makes sense. You're big enough and still small enough because Jericho Sims can, he's shown that he can play some defense out on the perimeter, in the event that a pick and roll, you switch to pick and roll or something like that, he can play out on the perimeter as well. You don't want him out there all day long, but he can do the job if need be. I think that's probably the way to go. And then, MJ Walker. And then, I'm kind of back and forth. Do I take Aamir Simms or Dwayne Bacon for that last two-way spot? Or Luca Vildoza? I tend to think that if Luca Vildoza, he's another guy that's 26 years old. Dwayne Bacon and Luca Vildoza, they're both 26 years old. It's kind of like when we had, what's his name? Kadeem Allen, right? He was 26 years old, and he was on a two-way. He did play some minutes when we suffered a bunch of injuries. He came in and played some minutes. He did do that. So maybe you do go with a Dwayne Bacon for that spot. Go ahead, Tony.
Hey, Sim, I got a question.
At this point, we're pretty strong at the point guard position without without Vildoza or without having seen Vildoza. You know what I mean? I mean, we got Kemba now, we got Rose. If all things work, in our favor, they're literally splitting the minutes evenly throughout the year. You know what I mean? Then we still got McBride. We seen them working with Quickly in the point. We've seen Burks run some point. We've seen RJ run some point. So I mean, if you're looking at it from that perspective, who's the most expendable guy at this point is probably Vildoza, especially since we haven't seen him yet.
Right.
Bacon, we know what we're getting. At the very least, we know he could produce in the NBA. The center position is pretty scarce, so we may need to lock up Jericho, and then still defense at the wing. I think Walker and the other Sims give you that. So I think everybody has a little bit more value for this particular team at this particular time than those are.
Yeah.
Hey, Sim, I got a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead, Nate.
I was just to clarify. So Vildoza is on the active roster because I thought his contract was non-guaranteed.
It's non-guaranteed, but he's on the roster. So there's a certain time when the Knicks would have to either waive him. There's a certain point, I don't know the exact date, when his contract will become guaranteed. And there's some confusion.
Gotcha.
There's some confusion about Dwayne Bacon. I see some people in the chat say Dwayne Bacon is on the active roster. He's not on the active roster. Let me show you the active roster right now. You have Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. Those are your starters, presumably your starters. On your bench, you got Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickley, Alec Burks, Obi Toppin, and Nerlens Noel. And then on your situational guys, you got Luca Vildoza, Miles McBride, Quentin Grimes, Kevin Knox, and Taj Gibson. Okay? Luca Vildoza right now has a 4-year contract. Now, 3 of those years are non-guaranteed, but he has a 3-year contract remaining or whatever it is. And all 3 of those years are non-guaranteed. But right now, Luca Vildoza is on the active roster. Dwayne Bacon actually received an Exhibit 10 contract, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, he received an Exhibit 10 contract, and he's going to be battling for a spot on a team. Now, do you think if Luca Vildoza is waived, because I agree, Tony, we have plenty of point guards right now. I don't know if you need another one. Even if you move Luca Vildoza, you waive him or whatever, you still got a point guard in that situational lineup. Is it possible Vildoza gets waived and Dwayne Bacon makes the roster, and then Jericho Sims remains in the G League on a 2-way contract? Because on a 2-way contract, you're still on the squad, and you can be brought up to play a limited number of games. Go ahead, Tony.
The only reason why I'm iffy about that is like if we know we're planning on making some type of move and opening a spot somewhere down the line, then yes, I could see that being the move. But remember, once that 2-way expires, that expires during the season. At that point, he becomes a unrestricted free agent and can be picked up by any team. So, during those, he has those 45 games or whatever he could play with us, and in between he could play with the G League as well. But other teams can keep that eye on him, and then at some point during the season, we're gonna have to make a spot open for him to keep him and keep him from another team picking him off.
Oh, so you don't keep him for the entire season?
I don't believe so. I think it expires because the G League season is over. Or maybe you have to maneuver it right because you only get a certain amount of days with the big team. You know what I mean? So maybe if you keep those days to the end of the year, maybe that's how you could maybe prolong having his rights. But once his availability for the big team is up, now you have to make a decision. And another team could snatch him up if they have the roster spot. So you either got to make space for him, or hope nobody
let him
picks
go.
him up in that meantime.
Right. We will see.
And honestly,
Go ahead, Nate. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, honestly, for me, I don't think it's that big of a discussion as far as if Vildoza does lose his guaranteed contract on the open roster. I mean, on the active roster. I think it's got to be Sims, man, because let's look at the reality. Mitch has had 2 big serious injuries the last couple of years, and Nerlens Noel's being pulled, and so he could easily get hurt. So Sims has got girth, he's got size, he's got a NBA body. I think you're going to have to carry 3 centers on this team because you just cannot rely on Mitch to stay healthy. And Sims has already kind of shown that at least going to the NBA, he can at least rebound. And looks like he can play some defense. And I think that'll transition to the NBA. Now, everything else, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think that you got to have him on the active roster. And then, honestly, what I would do is I would put Walker.
But you don't.
Huh?
You don't have to have
right.
him on
What I'm saying.
Because if he's already signed to a 2-way. He's already signed to a 2-way. Right? So if Mitch or somebody goes down, then you can call him up, say, "Hey, let's go. It's time to go, big fella. Let's do it." And if it turns out that you need him longer, then you can waive somebody or turn somebody into a 2-way and put him on the active roster. So there's flexibilities there.
Yeah. But my argument would be, like, if you're asking me who I would rather have on the last active roster spot over Vildoza, Bacon, and Sims, I'm going to say Sims all day.
I mean, I agree. I would rather have Sims too. I would rather have Sims too. I'm just saying you don't have to. You can let him play in the G League for a little while where he's going to get more playing time, beyond that 2-way contract where he's going to get playing time, and then pull him up if you need him. You can do that. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Training camp begins, September the 28th? So we got about 3 weeks to go before training camp begins. And, believe it or not, this is one of the most important battles that you have in training camp. Because those 15th guys, even the 17th guys now, they become vital spots. Right? I mean, look at the center position last year when Mitchell Robinson went down. Our 15th man became super important. What was the center's name? I can't even think of his name right now. Pele. Yeah, he became important. You know what I'm saying? So this is it's an important spot. You want to make sure that you have quality players there to be able to come in the event that players get hurt. I think at the guard spot, like Tony said, I think we're comfortable. We should be comfortable. Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose, Miles McBride. I mean, quick. I mean, we got. I mean, but
a lot of
okay. We got at least we got 4. We got 4 guys that can possibly play the role.
Yeah, but Sim, you played that position, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a difference between having somebody in there that you can say he's playing the point guard position and somebody in there that can play the point guard position, right? And I got to say, I was encouraged. I know a lot of people weren't. I was encouraged over what I saw quickly in the last 3 games. I would be okay with him playing the 3. I'm not that confident in Burke. He can bring the ball up the court. Yes, he can. But he's just not somebody that's going to get
Burke just needs to score buckets.
Right, exactly. And what's his name? He's a rookie. He might be a Quickly who came in and gave us some good minutes. So that's possible.
Just a little pushback. Keeping Vildoza, does it change anything? You know what I mean? Because now it's a 5th guy that is
with a question.
Like you said, can play the position. Right. We don't know, what we're gonna get from him. So that's why I think his value is lower. Right. So I get where you say you're not comfortable, but I don't think Vildoza gives you
Makes
any
me more
more comfort.
No,
You know
he
what I mean?
doesn't.
So in that
We got to go
aspect,
out and get somebody.
But here's the, but here's what I would advocate. Like, let's be real. These 2 point guards we have are injury prone and they're getting up there in age. And so I would love to see Vildoza on a 2-way contract. You know, if we do move Sims to the starting roster, I'd love to see Vildoza on one of those 2 ways because, hey, let him play in the G League, let him develop, let him, he's still young. He's only 25. He's gonna have, but let's see what he can do in the G League against American competition. And then if he flames out or he doesn't do well, then yeah, you can always move that spot from the 2-way to somebody else. But that would be my argument because you got to think about the future too. And yeah, I love McBride. I think McBride's going to be the future point guard. But you're going to have to look at the backup positions and who knows going forward. So that would be my argument. If you since you have 2 aging point guards, it wouldn't be bad to take a flyer on somebody on a 2-way and see what he does in the G League.
Yeah, I tell you what. I've been speaking with Emmanuel Quickly's old high school coach, and hopefully I'm going to get him on the show to talk about Emmanuel Quickly and his ability to play that point guard spot, and if he thinks he can play in the NBA. So be on the lookout for that. Hopefully, I'll be able to get him to come on and talk a little bit about Quick and what we think about his ability. Look, he's working on his handle. We seen the video clips of him working on his handle, but that's his handle. You can have the greatest handle in the world, doesn't necessarily mean you're a point guard up here where it counts. You know what I mean?
Not a point guard. People need to stop calling him a point guard, please.
But the thing is, with the way that Tom Thibodeau plays the basketball game, I mean, last year we didn't have a point guard, right? I mean, we had Elfrid Payton, but he wasn't, the type of point guard that could score the basketball or even he can distribute the basketball. But last year, because Julius Randle played, we played that style of basketball with Julius Randle, he wasn't called upon to distribute the basketball. Right. So we basically played without that kind of a point guard last year. Right? This year we got, at least, hoping that Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose stay healthy. We got 2 guys that can really get it done scoring the basketball and distribute the basketball a little bit. But when you look at Tom Thibodeau's system, it's not necessarily based on, having a point guard like a Chris Paul type. Not right. That he wouldn't be able to coach the basketball game in that style. I think Tom Thibodeau probably caters to whatever type of players he has on the team. But needless to say, those end of the bench guys are really, really important.
Yeah.
As far as how you decide to structure your team, because you need to have guys down there that can come in and give you good enough minutes. Let's just say that good enough minutes to get you by until your main players come back.
Right. And keep in mind, it's an 82-game season this year. In a tough, grinding Eastern Conference. So those situational players are going to be very important for us.
Yeah, very,
especially
very
back-to-backs.
Very, very important. Very important. Frank Ntilikina, I know he's no longer on the squad, but he was a situational player. Talking about situational guys, looks like he's going to be possibly playing overseas. Do you think he's done in the NBA? You think that's it for him? Steph, what do you think? You think he's done?
I gotta say something. I'm really surprised that he hasn't been picked up. I mean, like, what did you hear from everybody when it came to Frank? He just wasn't a good fit for the Knicks.
Right.
He would be a fit for another team. He's gonna go to another team and become a star. Or at least a very good, rotation player. And the fact that no other team picked him up, Does that justify was what the Knicks saw? Did other teams see the same? Or is it just a numbers game? So I have to say I'm surprised.
I'm surprised too. I thought he would get picked up by someone who would say, "Hey, we need an end of the bench guy," and maybe he could possibly grow into something later on. But maybe they just don't see him that way. Maybe they just don't see him. Tony,
Do you know where his contract is?
I don't know. I don't know much about it.
That'll determine if I'm surprised. You know what I mean? Because I think ultimately he would be making more money overseas than here, and I think that would be the determining factor. Now, if he signs something over there that is not even worth whatever his minimum contract is over here, and that means there was no interest, then yeah, I would be surprised. But I mean, at this point in his career, I don't think he's taking that big of a risk. If he went for the money and said, I could come back, I'm young enough to make my way back into the NBA.
Right.
But at the same time, he also may not know how hard it is to make it back into the NBA once you leave. So yeah. But I'm gonna go with he left for the money until I hear otherwise.
Yeah, I agree with Tony. I find it hard to believe there was no interest in this guy at 21 years old. So I think he did go back for the money because you can make a lot of good money overseas. And I think he wanted to go back home. I think I've said that many times in chats that he just seems like a guy who was put into a situation where he just didn't fit, and maybe it was the lack of, the American game. And, obviously you see when he plays overseas, he plays a lot different than he plays here. And so I think he just wanted to go back home, maybe retool his game, maybe, find his confidence, maybe grow up a little bit more, and who knows?
Yeah, well,
wish him the best.
It's not a done deal at all, not even close to being a done deal. So the report from basketnews.com is former 8th pick and the New York Knicks guard Frank Ntilikina could be back playing in Europe. On Saturday, the head coach of Virtus Bologna revealed that Nico Nanyan will miss the beginning of the season, that the club is looking for a replacement. According to the Gazzetta dello Sport, Ntilikina is one of the Virtus's targets. However, reports say that the French point guard is not the first name on the Italian club list. So, he's an option right now.
Right.
We'll see.
And there's more money in the NBA if you could play than there is overseas.
Right.
But
I mean, depends.
If you're a fringe player, then yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends though, Steph. I mean, the ceiling is probably higher in the NBA, but for where his stature is,
that's what I mean.
We don't. You think there's more money for him at his stature in the NBA than overseas?
No. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
For fringe players, that I think it's more overseas. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's we'll see what happens with Frank Ntilikina, man.
Wish him the best.
I
wouldn't mind him on the G League. Do you know how much difference the salary is on a two-way contract and a regular G League contract?
I'm not sure. What those salaries are. Something good to look up and know though, because I'm not exactly sure what they are. I mean, I don't think either one of them is making maybe $100,000 a year. I don't know if either one of them is making that much, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Yeah, Frank spent that in the Louis store.
I hope he saved up.
Exactly. Hopefully he saved his money. Last thing before I get out of here, man, I know you guys seen Kevin Knox's couple of runs, and not couple of runs, but You seen a workout video where he was, playing some pickup ball. How'd you think he looked?
First thing that stood out to me is he does look bigger, noticeably bigger. I think that will help him. But I mean, I think it's gonna be a tough road ahead for him, man. I'm rooting for him still. He is part of one of the subjects in my upcoming video, so I'll get some details on that then. But he definitely looked stronger and noticeably bigger.
Yeah. Steph, any thoughts?
Um, I only saw one. I only saw one video. So I don't know how many he has out there. He looked good. All of these Knicks players look good. Everybody looks good in the video because those are the only ones they're gonna post, right? They're not
Right,
gonna
of
post
course.
the bad workouts. I think if Knox comes back and then in training camp really shows Tibbs that he's a player for this rotation, it's gonna create a good problem for us. I would really love someone like that in our rotation. That 6'8" person. And I think for him, it's just more about the defensive end of it. I don't even think it's the shooting.
Right.
I think it's just the defensive end of it. And Sam, I don't know if you come across players like this. Some players are so smooth looking, it just looks like they're not
Yeah.
playing hard. It just looks
Yep.
like they're not putting out any effort, but they are. They just look that way. And in order for it to translate the way we want it to, he's gonna have to play like he on fire.
Right.
Because he's playing hard, I'm sure he is, but it just doesn't translate on the screen.
Right.
So
And I really do think it's like that with him. I
yeah, I
really
do
do.
too.
I really do think it's like that with him, where he plays hard, but he just has a smooth style of play, and it looks like he's not hustling. Looks like he's not
Right.
working hard.
Right.
I mean, he's gonna have defensive lapses. Young guy, right? Had plenty of defensive lapses,
Right.
but I do think that's how it looks, and a lot of players like that,
Yeah.
it hurts them.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're just like, a star, it hurts them when it looks like they're not playing hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know where he gets the playing time with this roster, and we are gonna have a battle with him. You know what I mean? I'm doing this whole series on training camp battles, and I got him matched up with Obi Toppin. And see, if he can beat out some minutes from Obi Toppin. Obviously, most people are going to say no, but you know what? He can shoot the ball better, in my opinion.
Yep.
He can handle the ball better.
Yep.
He has the ability to be the ball handler in a screen and roll. You know what I'm saying? There's some things that Kevin Knox can do that maybe Obi can't do. I actually would like to see them two play together sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that you can actually have Kevin Knox receive a screen from Obi Toppin and Kevin Knox be able to lob it up to Obi. I think that could work. And they both can shoot the three and spread the floor out. You know what I mean? I would like to see them guys both play together, but obviously you got Alec Burks there playing that, I guess, the 3 spot in that second unit. You know what I mean? But obviously Kevin Knox is going to be in one of my training camp battles. I got a lot of them lined up. Emmanuel Quickly, Miles McBride. I'm even going to do Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have some fun training camp battles, I think, this year. Mitchell Robinson, Jericho Sims, and Nerlens Noel. That's going to be a nice training camp battle, I think. So there's going to be some fun ones, some real fun ones, I think.
And it's so many variables, Sims. It's not just who's the better player, but who's Tibbs going to trust, like when it comes down to like Sims and Taj, for example, even though Taj is more of a power forward, there's going to be so many variables in that. So that's going to be great. And listen, that's where Knox would get his minutes from. It would have to be at the expense of Obi. I don't see where else they would come from if he happens to just blow up in training camp.
Right. Right.
Wow.
Well, if he takes a step, if he takes a leap, not a step, a leap defensively, then maybe he could get some minutes at the 3 as well. That's one of the things that is to his advantage. He can play multiple positions, at least offensively.
Right.
And then like Sim has pointed out in the past, and like I said earlier about the other Sims, not Jericho, we don't have a guy at that size. You know what I mean? So like that's one of his advantages is he's the only guy that we have with those type of attributes at 6'8", 6'9", with the length and so if he takes advantage of that's what he's gonna have to do and maybe get some spot minutes here and there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb.
Go ahead, Nate. Go ahead, Nate.
Okay. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that Knox is gonna have one of the strongest training camps out of the players that we have, and he's gonna make it a problem.
Yeah.
It's gonna make it a problem. Do you think how much is it a problem if he outperforms Obi? Does it make it a problem for the team? I mean, obviously Tom Thibodeau is not going to care. He's going to play who he's going to play. But does it make it a problem?
I think it's kind of funny because Knox has been in a lot of eyes seen as a bust, and if he beats out Obi, people are going to be like, "Well, Obi's a bust." So I think Knicks fans are going to be damned if you, damned if you don't. I honestly think, I agree with you, Sim. I think that it's just going to come down to who plays better defense and who Tibbs trusts on the court. And both are young guys, and both are very, hey, they got potential, but we got to see it more consistently, especially on the defensive end. So I think that, Tibbs that'll be a battle to look by itself right there between those two dudes, because I think Knox is going to come in with his hair on fire this year. I think it's put up or shut up for him this year. I think he's got to do something because he knows that his career is lingering right now and that he very well could be out of the league if he don't get it together quick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. He's at that point, and it's crazy. It's still early in his career, but he's at that point right now where, he could be, doing what Frank Ntilikina is doing right now.
Yeah, and look at Dennis Smith too.
Yep.
Barely holding on.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Well,
somebody said Knox is a threat to Burks. That maybe.
He could be. I don't know if he's a threat this year. So let me just say maybe he could be a threat in the future.
He's gonna have to show it defensively.
Yes.
I mean, obviously offensively as well, but that's where he has the advantage, or he would have to take the advantage away from Burks. You know what I mean? We've seen that he could put up 13 a game, Knox. We've seen it. Granted, it was rookie year, a lot of opportunity, but we've seen him do that. He would have to outshine Burks defensively to get that opportunity.
Right.
And Burks would probably have to be sticking up the drink offensively.
Yeah. And that's why I said I don't think it would happen this season if it was going to happen. And then of course Knox has to stick around for next year. But I don't think it would happen this season. I think that Burks has too much experience. Tom Thibodeau is going to rely on that experience. He's probably, I don't even want to say probably, he's definitely more confident than Kevin Knox. In a pinch, you can use him at the point guard spot. Like Steph, I don't like him there, really. I don't think he's a point guard. I think he can just play if you need him to. You know what I mean? If you don't have any other options. But you can use him there. I don't think you can use, while Kevin Knox, I think, can handle the ball in the screen and roll, I don't think you can use him at the point guard spot. You know what I'm saying? And have him be your primary ball handler.
Right.
You can't do that with Kevin Knox. You can get him the ball on the wing and then send a screen for him and let him operate that way, but you're not giving him the ball and say, okay, go do what you do. You know what I mean? So we will see, ladies and gentlemen. We will see. A lot of training camp battles to talk about. A lot of stuff to talk about coming up because training camp is just about here. But before we get out of here, Tony, any last words you want to get to before we get out of here?
Yeah, check me out. Knicks and Bruises, 6:30. Got a panel show coming up, so be prepared for that. Queens Court at 8 p.m. Triple header today, so MPK fan well represented tonight. Shout out to the chat. Sim, as always, keep doing your thing. Your blackest time.
No doubt. Appreciate it, man. And I'm just glad to be back. Feel like it's been forever since I've been here. And it comes with its number of hiccups. You see, I had a bunch of hiccups today. Nate, some last words.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I think this team has a lot of good problems to deal with. Anytime you talk about having talented players and not knowing where you're going to put them in the rotation, that's a good problem to have rather than the opposite. So I think the Knicks just need to continue to keep doing what they're doing, build this team and, just get ready, get that depth up. I mean, that's really the only issue I have with this team is that we need good quality depth behind these starting players. So.
Yeah, okay. And Steph?
Yeah, welcome back, Sim. Looking forward to this series. The training camp battles. That should be great. Looking forward to the season. And again, Queens Court tonight, 8 o'clock, panel show. And I will be on 6:30 with Tony on Knicks and Bruises.
Okay, all right. And before we get out of here, I do want to say rest in peace to Michael K. Williams, well-known Knicks fan. Came to his stardom on The Wire. I mean, he's been in so many great films and series. And he was someone who I've always admired and I really wanted to meet the guy. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen now. But rest in peace. He passed away today. So spread love, ladies and gentlemen. Out of here.